is Karina Hayes, and I am a special education major here at Grand Canyon University. This year so far, I have learned that in order to be an effective special education teacher, one must be able to work collaboratively with other colleagues in order to gain more insight on the profession, as well as uphold professional expectations and ethics. In my experience, I have seen the classroom teach one method, but inside of the school, it is ran completely different. This is why these collaborative efforts are a must, and it does provide you more insight on how you can be effective in your specific environment. For example, if if your classroom if your classroom has almost 30 students, and you are used to a certain routine that is designed for a classroom with 15 students, you may need to speak to a general education teacher or another special education teacher on how you can adapt your routine to your environment. Another responsibility of a special educator is to support learning by assessing a student's strengths and opportunities. Once these strengths and opportunities are identified, we as special educators are responsible for working with general education teachers and support specialists to create an individualized plan that includes attainable goals for the student. And the way that these goals are created is by an extensive planning process that does require your colleagues. Some of those colleagues may be a behavioral interventionalist or a speech pathologist, and even a school psychologist, in order to collect the data that you will need. And some data methods that special educators does use in their role, especially in their planning, is observations. These can be formal or informal, such as like the frequency method or an interval observation, and also formal and informal assessments, which can be summative and formative. And these are the roles. This is the role that a special educator does take on, and is responsible for making sure that any plans or goals that are set are held and are consistent through the different classes and stages of development that the student does go through. As a special educator, my disposition, the dispositions that I believe that I already have, is genuinely caring about my students. I do. Some of my students, they invite me to their birthday parties, and I do go, or they tell me that something's going on at home, and we do take that time aside to just have that conversation to identify if there is any emotional needs that they may desire. Also, I do strongly believe that all students are capable of learning, and some may think this is just towards academics. Yes, all students are capable of learning academics. However, it is very important to understand that all people are able to acquire life skills necessary to be productive members of society. I do require in my lessons a higher level of thinking, because as you get older, I do require my students to have a higher level of thinking, because in our part of the city, our students are kept in two levels. Either they are at grade level or below it. I like to challenge my students to think above their grade level, because not many of those needs are being met, and not many of those students are being identified that they are actually above grade level. They are saying, okay, well, you are in second grade, you'll learn at a second grade level, unless they are shown otherwise. They are not challenged in my belief. And I do strongly believe in my ability to create an individualized curriculum. At the Boys and Girls Club where I work, I am already responsible for observing each of my members' needs, their interests, and making sure that my lesson plans are in line with what they do like and how they like to be engaged. I am very committed. I have consistent attendance. I always come in with a positive attitude. But one area of opportunity for myself is making sure I am prompt with my completion of work. Even in my role, I tend to complete lesson plans on the same day, which is a academic no-no, because proper planning prevents poor mistakes. And that is something that I live by and I am working on getting better at. I like to use knowledge that I already have of my students. Like I said, I create a personal relationship with each and every one of my members, and I use that relationship to identify the strengths and areas of opportunities in my members. So if I do have a member that is very good at reading, I always encourage him or her to read to the classroom. However, if I have a member that needs a little bit of help on math, I do make sure that there's either a staff or another student who has that skill to help them in a kind manner. Something that I do like to touch base on is bias in education and the bias of teachers. Coming from an African American background, there is a history of teachers misdiagnosing members of the African American or urban community due to the fact that as an educator, it may be difficult for them to create ways that engage students of all cultural backgrounds. One way that I will combat this is by making sure I continue to get to know my students, continue to get to know their families, because having that family support makes a difference in how a child retains knowledge. Yes, students are with us for about, 75% of their day. However, if that knowledge and the routines are not carried through in the home, then it's like starting from square one each and every day. So I truly believe that taking the time to get to know your students does break that personal bias and can promote a healthy relationship with families and students. So thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Bye.